Welcome to what is perhaps appropriately Tales to be Told in the Dark, episode 33. I'm going to assume that most of you that are watching or have tuned into this have seen the little video shorts I made earlier today. This being Saturday the 14th and the eclipse in the United States. It's rather strange how I don't know, maybe I must be some sort of slow learner, some sort of retard, as it were. Why do I say that? Because I seem to be shown things twice. Now, it's transpired comparatively recently that my own life is built upon a lie. To be honest, it goes so far back that it doesn't even matter. And likewise, when you look at history and start really sort of doing cross comparisons of things, you'll find that all of history seems to be a lie. And as I've said on previous videos, it doesn't actually matter if there's a foundation of truth, because some of these lies go on to create stories. And I cited the example about how many boys have been inspired and when I grow up I want to be an astronaut. That kind of thing. Regardless of whether it's true or not, it's irrelevant. It creates a sort of history and takes on a sort of life of its own with no foundation of truth, which is incredible. But that is the nature of this reality, it would seem. So I'm trying to decide which is the best way to talk about this. Let's start with the sign given by nature. That was yesterday. Or was it the day before? I can't remember now. But anyway, I was clearing a load of bramble and sort of piling it up. Some of it will be firewood. Some of it is going to be composted. And what is revealed underneath is this semi-composting, beautiful, rich material. And coupled with that, it makes it easier for the birds to forage for what they need. So, of course, I've got the very bold robin that's chattering away. So I end up talking to the robin. It's highly significant. If you look up the spiritual meaning of a robin, it means a new start, change. It's like a micro reflection of this macro eclipse. So there was a sign from nature that is given. Now this is where it comes to walking in two worlds. I can draw on the experience, and I can think of other experiences where there have been robins involved, which are significant in their symbolic meaning and what they would seem to herald when there's a change coming. On a personal level, because I can say in terms of testimony about these things, but I don't want to go into the previous ones because it'll make this too long. I could maybe talk about those another time. But where do we go with this now? I suppose I could hand you over to the lower conscious. Now, some of this is like an amazement and a shock, because I'm looking at myself and internally, and why aren't I panicking? I should be panicking. I should be frantic, in a real panic as to to what to do. Basically, the situation in the short, it's like there's an egg, a little bit of rice, and a little bit of porridge. Well, all three of those things are now gone. The only thing that's left is the chicory and coffee, some sugar, and water. So I've got coffee to drink. The lemons aren't anywhere near ripe enough yet. The oranges aren't anywhere near ripe enough yet. There's a few tomatoes, there's a few green peppers, there's a few salad leaves, but apart from that, this is a bit of a challenging time. Coupled with that, the post box, which I haven't yet got a key for, is an hour's walk in one direction. The bus stop is an hour's walk in the opposite direction. This is not exactly on a main road, this location. So there lies another problem. There's also the problem of if I was to get to the bus stop, for example, then I have no money whatsoever. Well, I think I've got about €7 left, and that is it. Yes, I am appealing for donations, but that's not going to actually address the problem as perceived by the conscious mind and what the external reality is presenting. Which reminds me of, where have we been in this position before? And there's been several times. And I was talking to Lana A LaBonte. Nice to see her subscriber numbers are increasing, which is brilliant, because that is a channel I would wholeheartedly recommend. It's authentic testimony, and it is really words of wisdom. So Lana A LaBonte channel, I'll put a link in the description. The latest video is so profound, I would urge each and every one of you to listen to that. Anyway, back to the situation. So things look very bleak, but this is where this is beyond imagination creates reality. There is little point in trying to put all the mental effort into denying what is right in front of me like that, because it would take so much effort to deny that reality. Now, this is where it comes to walking in two worlds, because whilst there is that, there is also the unseen. So I was talking to Lana, and something I said, she said, "Oh, you've not spoken about this before." And I thought, actually, she's right. I have spoken about this before in private conversations, but I've never spoken about this on YouTube. And I feel it was a huge test, and one that was a brilliant teacher by going through the experience. So the situation was, I was in a homeless unit in Scotland. It generally has quite a rapid turnover of people. And there are all sorts. I've jokingly said about the food banks, it's being like the outcasts of society, the lepers of today. Well, these homeless units are basically the same thing. You get all sorts. You get all kinds of broken souls, drug addicts, alcoholics. Potentially there's sex offenders. There's people who've just come out of prison, who are sort of flung into the outside world totally unprepared for it because they've become institutionalized. A lot of them go back into it. Most of them have a addiction of one kind or another, normally a coupling of alcohol with Valium or cocaine or maybe even heroin. And of course, this all goes on all the time, and it's comrades in despair in these little groups. But of course, that's all right when everything's going right. But when one owes another one money, and there's a lot of manipulation goes on where one will be like a predator, and oh, I'll lend you the money, I'll get you your next fix. Now you're in debt to me. This sort of thing goes on a lot. There's quite a few that went away in handcuffs, shall we say, and quite a few went away in ambulances. So I have this neighbour who, it turned out, had just been released from prison, and he's now in the outside world. First occasion that I met him, it became quite clear from his conversation there was huge unresolved childhood issues that he was feeling tremendous pain from, and involved his late father. So it doesn't matter about the actual details, but suffice to say that this was affecting this guy in a very negative way. And maybe something about me that triggered it or brought it out, I don't know. But second occasion, this same guy has now got alcohol in his system, and I thought there's a thing called buckfast. It looks like and smells and has the consistency of some sort of horrible thick cough syrup, and it's like, that ain't good. The smell of it, everything about it, the alarm bells are going off inside me saying, do not touch that. So you've got two ingredients there already. You've got unresolved childhood traumas. Now you've got alcohol. Now I don't know which other substance or combination of substances were involved, but I've now got what is basically a psychopath who has, and I've seen this before with these combinations of things. There's a very cold psychopathic Hannibal Lecter kind of murderous energy under some sort of possession or spell, whether it's from the drug inducement, the alcohol inducement, the frequency inducement, or the childhood issue trauma, or any trauma, whatever it causes it, the combination of all those ingredients is just a bomb waiting to explode, basically. So this guy, I don't know what's got into him. He's like kicked in the kitchen door. Now he's hammering on my living room door. And it's like, I've now find myself taking part in a play that I didn't actually want to be a character in this particular story, but we're in it and we can't get out of it. But how do we get out of it? Because whatever I do this is not going to go well, shall we say. If I open the door and confront him, that's not going to go well. If I shout abuse or anything, that's not going to go well. If I give in to the panic and fear that's being presented, that ain't going to go well. I'm going to be reacting. And it's like, no, there's another way to handle this. There has to be another way to handle this. I know there's another way to handle this. But it's not exactly imagination creates reality as such now, because this is very real. This is like, how long before that door frame gives way? He's done one almighty, like, I don't know, a flying kick at the door, and it's one hell of a thud. How the door didn't give way, I don't know. So it's like, wow, what can we do here? The only thing I can do is project a thought into his mind and form a triangle with outside the front door, because these are like a shared front door, but two separate apartments with a shared front door. Of course, there's no cameras in the hallway on the inside of the door, but there is on the community hallway on the outside. So what I need to do is then look at this situation. It's like, well, the conscious mind is not going to be able to come up with a solution to this one. Now, this is where we can also look. I'm going to go on a slight tangent here, but a very quick one. You'll find this when there's talk of anything about atoms, the solid part of the atom being the 0.0001%, and as opposed to the 99 whatever. So you've got this 1% theme. You also have this those that rule the world thing is a 1% of 1%. You've got this theme going on, and so you could say there are very few. That's the key word, few. Because that is exactly what I used, as it were. We'll go with the etymology on this. Now think of the word few. I've said before on video, play with the word. Say it fast, say it slow. Look at how many ways in your mind, picture in your mind how you can spell it, just from the sound. Now, hopefully you've already worked out there's an F-E-W and there's a P-H-E-W. P and H is the way or the value of describing the acidic and alkaline value, so of water, the pH balance, for example. So we're looking at pH as being balance. So now the P-H-E-W, the few, it's about creating a new harmony, a new balance. Now, I'm not projecting out a negative wish on this guy. The lower conscious, if that was going to be running the show, probably would be staying on this sinking ship and not taking a chance with a perfectly good life raft that is offered, as it were. It's not exactly a Titanic analogy, but I'm just offering some sort of visual to go with this. So we've got this triangle set up going on mentally, where I've projected that this guy needs to be curious to go outside the front door. Something needs to draw his attention out there. We wish for a good outcome to this. This guy has got some serious issues, and ultimately he is a danger to himself and potentially other people he's going to come in contact with. So with hindsight, I can say this now, that I am glad that I went through the experience and it wasn't somebody else innocent that might have reacted out of fear to that situation, and it could have gone with a very different result. The outcome of that was that this guy did go out into the hallway. I heard the shouting and verbally abusing somebody else, and I heard the other guy saying, "You're not right in the head." But when you've got somebody with these ingredients of the alcohol and the drugs and something that's eating them up inside, their whole internal system is that acidic. It doesn't take a lot. It's like there's the dynamite and now the fuse is lit. And they can just explode very unpredictably like that. And it's sad that they're so tortured. and they're torturing themselves basically from their own thoughts that they've constructed around whatever's happened. It's sad that they can't sort of stand back from it and reflect on they're in this victim mindset and so on. Anyway, so it ended up with the next thing is about 8 police have come in, and it sounds like a stampede of buffalo going up the stairs, and this guy is away in handcuffs. And I looked out the window and I felt sorry for him, to be honest. I didn't have any hatred towards him. I could have done, yeah. But I also found that was a valuable lesson in that no matter what, you've got to stay captain of your vessel. You're going to face some real storms. The reason I mentioned all this is because of this situation I'm in now. And whilst, yes, I am asking for donations, that is only alleviates and delays something. Now, I really don't know what the answer is going to be. I've had the sign from nature with the robin. It's eclipse season. I have this internal feeling that everything's going to be okay. It's just the conscious mind, the lower self-mind, can't figure out and it has this fear of the unknown. Because you should hear the lower conscious chattering away and the stories it's making up and the panic it is in. It's like, just shut up and sit down. We've got this. That doesn't mean I'm denying it. There's a part of me that is scared to death. Because I really don't know what to do. It's like, if I left this place, one, I'm going to be on foot. I've got a heavy bag and a backpack to carry. Because it'd be pointless leaving anything here. Because it's not like I'd be gone for a day and back the following day. But where would I go anyway? And there's certain practicalities. Well, here at least I've got water and I've got a toilet. If I'm out walking on the roads, I've not got any of that, and I've also not got a roof over my head. And if we have rain like we had last night, and I've got not even a tent or anything to go under, that would be just rather stupid. But at the same time, I'm also in this dilemma that I'm stuck here. I don't know how this is going to resolve. But I haven't got sufficient funds to renew the Wi-Fi connection, so by the end of this month I could disappear into the ether, quite literally, and into obscurity, so then it wouldn't matter. But I don't know, if I can find some work with accommodation, that's going to be my next step. It's like, well, I can't have attachment to this place. I've got to let go of all attachments, as it were. But where would I go to? But it'd be a shame if I do have to almost abandon this place. I don't really want to do that. It seems like it's all been for nothing. But nothing is for nothing. There is always valuable lessons in everything. So this could turn out to be quite a beautiful testimony of, look how impossible the situation seemed, and so this is where the few comes in. Because all I can do in this situation, I can't figure this out. Now this begs the question of what is the grand architect? Because if I just put out a sort of virtual post-it note into this reality, now I'm going to the end and I'm holding the feeling of, phew, that's a relief. Somehow, against all odds, we got through this. I cannot rule out the timing of seeing that robin and having that little interaction. It's a magical moment, and I knew straight away that there's a feeling. Now this is the thing, to know nothing is to know everything. To know everything is to know nothing. This is the true meaning of it. You don't know what you don't know until the question or the situation arises that then will coax it out of you. This is a reminder of I've already had prelude versions of this where things have seemed, it's like, how the hell are we going to get out of this? I don't know the way forward. I've got no answers I can come up with. I don't know where to look. I know nothing. And this is where I have to hold on to that inner self belief beyond everything and override all of this, but also acknowledging the immediacy. Because it is surely about walking two worlds, so I have to acknowledge that this isn't going to resolve. So the only active step I can take is put out this an appeal in a video, but also give you the testimony of how things in another situation where things look bleak. Now there's an interesting word if you think about this. As individual expressions of the Creator, as individual co-creators, your physical body is your world, so the I am the light of this world applies to the real you, your essence inside your physical body. Now everything external of you will look very dark and look very bleak, which we're in a realm of duality. Now I just have to put into practice what I've been talking about, and I think it was Lana that mentioned this, where it came from, the passing clouds. So at the moment it looks like we're facing heavy, stormy, really oppressive, dark clouds that's going to come with all the roar of the thunder and the lightning bolts, and terrifying. But they may just blow over, and then you get nice fluffy white clouds, and sunshine will return again, as it were, in the metaphorical sense as much as it does in the physical sense with the weather. So as much as anything else, this is a sort of for the record type video, and we'll just see what happens. But wow, what a test. So I don't know. So if anybody wants to sponsor me, or if you think I'm worth it, if you don't think I'm worth it, well, don't. It's I can't blame anybody, because I don't know. I wouldn't know who had a thought, who's heard it, who's not heard it. So who could I blame? I knew this would come to this. I take full responsibility to that. I knew before even coming here that something inside me said this sort of situation is going to come up, but you still got to go for it. You still got to go through the experience. So I went with that, and I've just got to trust in that course that's been set and go with that, and just an awful lot of holding on to that feeling of phew, and feeling that there is a successful outcome to this. This is where biblically it's expressed as take no thought, because the conscious mind will try and think its way out of this. It's thought of a problem, it's looked at the evidence, and it sees there's a problem. We've got problems here. We've got problems with this. We've run out of that. We've run out of this. We haven't got this. We have what if that runs out? And what if that runs out? And this is how this conscious mind will chatter like this. And it's trying to pull you down to its level, to its lower conscious, trying to pull you down to that lower conscious. And it's like, hold on a minute. Yeah, okay, the situation does look like that. There's no denying that. But look at what's happened previously. There's been loads of other events. I can't remember the details of most of them now, because this is a weird thing with the neural pathways that have created. I've lost a lot of memories and things, and I've got huge gaps, which is in some ways has created challenges, but in other ways it's like, well, if I'm going on the premise of if I'm meant to know and there are things of benefit, they will come back. If they're not, then it's like a blank canvas for a reason. Because I feel everything happens for a reason. So I have to have the courage of my convictions. Notice the way the words, the courage of the convictions. What is your conviction? Now that's something associated with breaking the law, but we're not breaking universal laws, the ones that really matter, in any shape or form. That is playing by the rules of the cosmic laws. And I stand by that, because what are my other options? Do I walk to, what would it be, Lisbon, I suppose, in Portugal, and go to an embassy and say, take me in? You know? How do I get there? For a start? See, we go round and round in circles, all that nonsense, and that's not going to achieve anything. So we'll see what the universe brings, and hopefully there'll be more videos. Well, there will be more videos, but I really don't know, where do I go from here. Any suggestions on a postcard, please? I can only give you testimony as to previous times, and just hold to that this is going to be the same. This is not the same as, but the outcome will be one of, phew, we've got through this. That's all I can call it. A prediction video, if you want. I can't say. I can't see into the future. All I can do is try and create the future by holding this feeling and having that self belief. And it's like, well, if I'm a co-creator, then I have the ability to create. So we're going to have to run with this. This is the path we've gone down. No one else is to blame. I take full responsibility for it. So let's see what happens, and we'll hopefully let you know in the next video, or one fairly soon, that we'll say, there you go. Here's a testimony of, and then we'll go from there. I think that's the fairest way of doing it. Oh look, 33 minutes. What a good place to stop for video 33. Love to you all.